Hello and welcome to First Impressions. My name is Paul Boag and I've been asked by the lovely people at Balsamiq to basically review some websites and to give my first impressions of them based on ways to potentially improve their user experience. Now, I decided to make things a little bit more interesting and going completely blind to these reviews. So it's not all going to be carefully choreographed and I've not got a load of points all prepared up front. But the idea is just to give you my gut reaction of what I think about these websites. So, shall we dive into today's first website to check out? Let's have a look and see what we've got. So, I've loaded the website into a tab and we will see what we get when we flip over to it. Okay, Get With the Brand. That's a cool name. I like that as a good starting point. And it's fairly obviously, from glancing at it, an agency website. So there you go. There's the number one great thing about this website that I like, which is that it's immediately obvious what these guys do. I also have to say I really quite like their strapline. Turn your websites into revenue generating assets. I'll tell you why I like that. I like it because it's balancing features and benefits. One of the big mistakes I see people make is that they usually do one or the other, right? So, for example, you go to some web design agency websites that basically say on the homepage, we build websites, right? Well, great, that's fine. But people want to know how that helps them, what benefit it provides to them, right? In this case, they make the benefit very clear that it will lead to websites that are revenue generating. But you go to other websites where some marketing person has got hold of it and it's all about the benefits and not about actually what they deliver. So I've worked with some clients where they'll have, some comment about I'll give you a real example, actually. I once went to the Skype website, right? And on the homepage, its first big banner, the equivalent of the one that you're seeing here, basically said, connect with loved ones this time of year, right? It was near Valentine's. And if you didn't know what Skype was, right, that would be absolutely useless because they focused on the benefit rather than what Skype was. So, it could have been a social network, it could have been a dating app, it could have been anything, right? So balancing benefits with features is really good, okay? And then, of course, they further reinforced exactly what they do down here. Now, there is the first thing that maybe isn't such a great idea, which is to emphasize where they are. Okay, the reason I'm a little unsure about that is because it can limit your potential audience that you get to reach because, you're only it's kind of basically saying you're a local agency, right? And actually, if you want to attract bigger and better work, you want to kind of shed that local agency field and, say you can take on clients anywhere. Because if ever there was a job that you can do via the internet, it would be web design. You don't have to be physically co-located. Now, I've just realized I've spoken a lot about the first page without any scrolling or anything. So see if we can drag that out just a little bit longer. Let's look at the site's navigation. Okay, so we've got our work, pretty good. The first thing that people want when they go to a web design site is to actually see examples of the work that people do. They want to see whether people are, whether this company has done work in the same sector. They want to see what the quality of their work is like, etc. Then it's got website design. WordPress support. Yeah, those are pretty good. That's not too bad. It makes it clear that they do design, that they do WordPress stuff. Maybe it leaves people with the impression you only do WordPress stuff. Perhaps you only do, in which case that's absolutely fine. FAQs, however, I've got a bit of a problem with. FAQs become like this dumping area where people just kind of throw any content they don't really know what to do with in. So I tend to avoid them in most cases. Articles, great. Everybody needs a blog. We'll dive into that in a minute. But let's scroll down before we look at that anymore. And obviously contact. Now, my only problem here is that the contact, which is the main call to action, right, is actually tucked in the one position that is the weakest position on any website, which is the top right corner. We tend to skip over that, and is not displayed any differently to any of the navigational items. So that's quite a weak call to action. But let's see what happens as we scroll. Okay. Well, now I'm feeling a bit intimidated because I'm faced with quite a lot of copy, right? So I've read get with the brand, but that's just their name, right? So that actually isn't providing any real value to me there. Oh, the pop-up, by the way, is on my computer, not their website, that tooltip thing that appears. So get with the brand, I'm not a huge fan of that. About you, that's a bit different. Normally you have about us. So obviously, okay, so you're on a mission. Yeah, I kind of know who I am and what I'm doing. So I don't know whether actually that's that useful to me, right? If it was something like what we can provide you or how we can help you, then that would be a lot more interesting to me. But look, we do have a big call to action button, and I like that, a big get in touch. And it's got a nice contrasting color. It really pops out, stands out. It's big, it's bold. You can't miss it. It would be quite nice if it was above the fold, wherever the fold is. But, you know, okay, that's not bad. This is all just too much. There's too much copy here for me. And I suspect most users who wouldn't read it. But at least it tells me, you know, these subheadings actually do help a little bit. Get your brand, design, and develop websites that pay for themselves. Well, you've now introduced that you do brand design, which I hadn't picked up from the main navigation. So should that be up here maybe? But other than that, you're basically saying stuff that you've already told me up here. Turn your website into revenue generating assets. That says exactly the same thing. So it's repetition. Now, we believe in long-lasting relationships and won't be happy until you are. I like the principle, right? I like the idea of we like to work with our clients over the long term, but it seems a little bit aggressive there. What if I just want to work with you on a single project? You saying you're not interested? So maybe that needs some rewording. You know, I would go with we work in partnership over the long term and then explain why. What's the benefit there? Okay. You can be sure that you still strive to provide you with a website that meets your business needs and grows your customer. Once the website is completed, we offer maintenance and management packages to ensure that you remain focused on running your business while we make sure your website is working hard for you. Okay, I feel like that can be, there's probably, something in there. I like the, so it's not so much we believe in long-term relationships. It's we take the hassle out of managing your website. That's the real call to action there, isn't it? That's the real benefit there. You know, we manage your website so you don't have to. Okay. Our websites are designed in Perth. Okay. Now you're making a big deal out of the fact that you're a local business, right? Okay. That's fine then, right? If you want to target your business at local businesses, absolutely fine. And actually, I really admire you for doing that, because I often find that many design agencies don't want to specialize in any way, right? They want to offer everything to everybody, okay? Oh, we don't want to narrow it down. If we specialize, we're going to turn away people. But actually, there's a real benefit in specialization, right? Because people come to you because you know about something in specific. So in this particular case, you're saying, we know the local community. We know people in Fremantle. We know what they want. What motivates them, and we can meet those needs. Brilliant. Another way of specializing would be to specialize in a particular sector, like we specialize in charity websites. Or another one would be to say we specialize in WordPress sites or e-commerce sites or something very specific. So actually, I kind of quite like that. I think, again, you need to say why Why are you focusing on local businesses? What or what benefit does that provide your customers? So that's the whole thing about, we know the local community. We know what drives behavior in Fremantle, Perth. Okay. Then, so we got another call to action about get the brand. Okay, I'm not really looking at that at the moment. We've got a load of testimonials going on. Testimonials are too long, guys. I'm never going to read all of that, and I'm not going to want to read all of that. And a minute ago, I wonder if it's going to do it again. These testimonials seem to be going on a loop, and the loop felt a little bit fast to me for the amount of information that it contains. All right, so make your calls, your quotes much shorter. Yeah, see, that wasn't long enough to read that first one. People take a lot. Here's a little tip with reading and timing that I learned when I used to do video stuff back in the day. You need to be able to read it out loud to yourself twice to let someone read it themselves and comprehend what they're reading. So that should help you with your timings on those. Then we got some clients. These feel a little bit low to me. You know, this whole thing about working locally and all of this text here is less important than this, right? People want to go in and they want to start looking at clients straight away. And then again, you've repeated the call to action at the bottom. Great, love it. Footer. That's quite nice. Book a Skype consult. Quite like that idea. What's going to happen when I click on that? Go through to Calendly. You might want to integrate Calendly into your website. You can do that. So users might click on that and go, oh, what's this? Because suddenly all the branding's gone away to do with your website. You know, am I still on the right place? Am I seeing the right things? Well, if you integrate it with your site, that wouldn't be as big a problem and big a jolt. But let's not get hung up on that. Let's have a look at our work. By the way, I'm not going to go through every section. We've got better things to do with our lives, haven't we? Okay. So it's taking a while to load, but that might be my connection. So I'm not going to get caught up on that. So here we go. We've got a load of clients here. That's great. Not that many maybe, but okay. Can I filter via sector? No, that would be quite nice for me. Or to at least highlight the sector so that I can see, have you done anything like what my business delivers? You've got a nice range of sectors, which is good. And let's just dive into one at random. Okay. Maybe some more screenshots would be quite nice. Yeah, you've got a link through to the site, which is great. It'd be nice to have some kind of bullet point list here that told me what you did for them in a very kind of quick and easy manner, rather than reading all of this text. You know, was it built on WordPress? Did you do the branding? Did you do the design? You know, did you use a template? What's going on there? So give me a nice little summary, and then a nice little summary. You know, you've got the result is a website. It'd be really good if the result also included a testimonial, or we were able to increase conversion by 23% or something like that. It would be more compelling. Let's have a look at the services, the website design page. Okay. I like this. This is nicely split up. Now, how does it work? That's actually really good. One of the things that people really like is to be able to picture what their experience would be like if they hire you, right? Or if they buy your product or whatever it is. What's going to happen next? Right? And you've dealt with that exactly just here, right? So we've got initial planning meeting, proposal, order of ceremonies. That's a bit of a weird wording. A little bit more planning. Yeah, okay. I think you're probably better off with something that's a bit more kind of descriptive there. Content, create code, the reveal. Ooh, I'm not sure about going with the reveal. People, the reason I'm doubtful about that is because that gives the impression that you go away and work in isolation. And actually, I think people want to feel a bit more involved, a bit more engaged, like they get, what if they don't like it, for example? And that actually brings me on to something else. that's really important with any website is objection handling, right? The what if scenarios. So, people who come to your website will have questions like, what if I don't like the design? What if it's not effective? What if I can't get the content on time? All of these kinds of things. And you need to be able to address those. So doing the reveal kind of gives you this impression that you kind of just lump it. You get a design and you lump it. And I don't know whether that go down particularly well. But other than that, it's really good, that little process. Notice that I just skipped all of this text, right? People don't read, okay? Website design and website development, can this not just be bullet points? Can you not give me something a bit more concise in order to communicate that? Most of our sites are built using WordPress. But if you don't need a content management system, you can look at alternatives. All of that could actually be quite easily summarized. So hang on, you're talking about website development here, and then you've got website support, WordPress support here. Let's dive into that. Okay, so this is maintaining it. This is helping with security and those kinds of things. Again, you've got a lot of talk here. And I'm guessing, actually, this is what I want. Okay, a nice pricing table going on here. Right, okay. Pricing tables are good. No problem with that. But it's a little bit overwhelming what I'm looking at here. There are a lot of different options. So you might want to recommend an option for different people. Just to give them a bit of guidance in terms of what they should do with each of these areas. I think this kind of image begins to sum up some of the problems. So one of the first things you've got to deal with, which you do here, why do I need WordPress maintenance? But you've answered it with a lot of text that I'm not feeling particularly inclined to deal with. So why couldn't you do like 3 reasons why you need website maintenance? Security, whatever. My brain's gone dead as to what those would be. But you get the idea. Nice, consistent, concise summaries of each of the reasons rather than this big block of text. Don't get me wrong, I haven't really got a problem with a big block of text if it's in the right situation, but I don't think yet you've got to that. You might have it, you have those 3 blocks of text, and then you can, those 3, points with a nice big icon or graphic associated with each one, and then people could click on it to bring up some more text maybe. That's kind of fine for those that want more detail, but you've got to think of your website as a kind of a pyramid, really, that at the top it's all very broad. It's like an inverted pyramid. At the top it's all very broad, and your broad brush strokes, and then as people go down it becomes more focused and more specific, and that's where you can say a little bit more. FAQs, well, you know my feeling about FAQs by now. I'm not even going to look at these, right? Yeah, can't be bothered with any of those. Maybe, how much does a website cost? Our website started around, it's good that you give in a ballpark figure. That's good. Can you not integrate this back into the website in a bit more of a way instead of leaving it as this standalone thing? This is really good. Again, it's good content, but include it when you talk about the web design process, because will it work on mobile devices? Well, why isn't that one of these steps, making it mobile friendly? It doesn't all need to be kind of grouped together in this kind of section. Can I update the website myself? Again, you can talk about that when you talk about web development. All of this stuff can be integrated in elsewhere. All right. Articles. Let's have a look at your blog. Oh, no, it is loading. Great. Right, you've got some categories. No problem with those categories whatsoever. Yeah. This is what I was worried about. 6th of August, 31st of May, 8th of May, 26th of March. You're not blogging regularly, are you? And that is a problem. It's a problem because it gives people no reason to come back to your website. Okay? You've got to give people a reason. Otherwise, why are you blogging? right? Yes, okay, you might get an SEO benefit from it. But even then, Google rewards sites that put content up regularly. You're giving people no reason to come back to your website, no reason to engage with you on an ongoing basis. And this is a real problem when it comes to buying websites or web design services, should I say, because there might be a long length of time between someone first looking at the website and actually hiring you. So you need to provide a reason to keep people coming back. There's not even a call to action here to sign up for our newsletter. You've got nothing going on like that. It feels like you've got a website, a blog, because you're supposed to have a blog, rather than it being part of a coherent marketing campaign in any way. Let's just dig into one very quickly. Yeah, it's good. You've got some good stuff. Obviously, I've not read it, but you've got some good stuff in here. You're using bullets, you're using pull-out quotes, a bit light on imagery maybe. You've got this obviously at the top, but it would be good to see some more imagery in the post. And what's going on over here? You seem to have advertising on your website. Well, surely you should be advertising your own services. Not sure that's a good call. You should have a call to action for newsletter signups here. Instead, you've got a call to action as all articles. Not so. Yeah, I'm not. I don't. Yeah, I don't think that's quite right at the moment. Let's just pop into contact us, which is obviously your main call to action. Okay. So we've got some positive reinforcement in your testimonials, which is good. But you are making me scroll to get to the form. Okay. Let's have a look. Right. My criticism, if I have one, of this form is these last two fields, right? I know it's useful for you, but you're asking people to provide you with quite a lot of information at this stage. It might be better just to ask people for their name, their business name, email address, and phone number, and say we'll give you a call and we'll talk to you about your needs. You could just have a general messages form. I think you're maybe asking for a little bit too much. And get rid of this, guys. Come on, capture. Capture is a huge problem for all kinds of reasons, but it's totally unnecessary. Deal with your spam at the back end. Don't deal with it. Make it the user's problem. So, but generally, not bad. I am very much a fan of your homepage. I'm very much a fan of this initial, very clear what you do. I like the fact that you've specialized and gone local. I think you maybe need to focus on the benefits a bit more, but a brilliant start. I hope this was useful. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.